It is with great sadness and disappointment that I must now say R.I.P. to Maxine Petal, the lady that Maria Hector referred to in his introduction that did the most to help him publish his autobiography. I was the one that introduced Eshe, as she's affectionately called by her close associate, to Maria Hector in 1978 and death row. The rest is history. Recently, I saw Eshe at a function and she told me that she had pictures of Freddy. Today, before I did the program, I tried to call both her and Maxman to see if I could get a picture of Freddy for publication. I did not got either her or Maxman on the telephone. I have tried to contact both Eshe and Maxman several times today. And working on part 3 of Death Row, I received a call, and when I took that call, that's when I learned that Maxine Petal had recently passed away. What can we say? All I can say at this time is my condolence to the entire Petal family. The Petal family is like my family here, my extended family here in England. So I am very saddened at this time to receive such grievous news. And I know that both she and Freddy would be pleased of what I am doing at this moment. Salute both my good friend, my sister, and my brethren. Once again, Malcolm, you also have my condolence because I know it's the mother of your daughter. So link up if and when you can. Death Row by Maria Hector. Narrated by JahBunny, better known as the Badass, the man from Buzzwalk. Another day, before the sun came over the prison wall, the day had begun. Gradually, the clean air of the night was assaulted by the rising stink of the prison, while the grinding and clanging of the metal brakes and locks shattered the last impression of natural tranquility as the trustee and slaves were unlocked. The bugs and cockroach has disappeared, leaving only the scratch bump all over my body and a few dead cockroaches scattered across the floor as sign of their night activities. This morning was beer and Prusik. There was no soap and water to wash my face. No toothbrush or toothpaste to brush my teeth. No transistor radar to check the news. This morning was unlike mornings, not like mornings ought to be. Mornings were for hope, but my ration of that had finished yesterday. As promised, the brother in the next cell and I began to rap early. He put me wise on the rules and regulation that govern the role and the inherent norm of day-to-day survival. Whatever the brother omitted then, I live and learn in the days to come. Special rule apply to the custody of prisoners on death row, as distinct from those applicable to the general prison population. In totality, these rules explicitly reflect the stringency of confinement which this functionary of Babylon forcefully imposed on working class Jamaican in contemporary times, and the systematic oppression, debasement, dehumanization, and psychological torture inherent in the policies and functioning of the penal system. No books, newspaper, magazine, and pencil were permitted on the row. No toothpaste, brush, soap, comb, bath towel, or toilet paper was allowed inside the cells. No outlay, underwear, photograph, transistor reader, or even a Bible was permitted on the row. No communication with prisoners outside in the general population or even fellow prisoners on the row was permitted. No cigarette, spectacles, or jewelry of any kind was permitted on the row. We were allowed to visit weekly and to write one letter over the same period. They would shove the letterhead and a stump of pencil under the door and return 5 minutes later to bang on the door for it receipt. All mails received had to be promptly read and returned to the warder. Any and all of these provisions could be instantly revoked and the caprice of any warder. The prisoner are assumed only of the garbage they are served for food. Nothing else. Try to buck the system and you will be quickly introduced to the business end of a riot button. Rule of fear. This confinement and the fact that the rule further increase the onus of pressure by outlawing any environmental division. It is an act of psychological torture. True, the process has never been ironed out into a discipline, yet over the years it has plundered the human estate and allowed full expression to those freaks of nature who degrade life itself and spit upon humanity. The technique is based on the theory that man is but a product of his culture, that if man is deprived of the material aspect of his culture, the already disturbed man brain forward by regiment silent and the absence of environmental division into gradually reducing its reactivity. It tortured further as the non-activity of the mind increased. The nerve system gradually falls apart as the confinement intensifies and protect. A man learns survival, adapt his behavior from the culture that surrounds him. In our culture, even the poorest of the land eat with some item of cutlery, from clean plate of a bath and change when dirty, wear underclothes, comb their hair, and sleep on a bed, broken as it may be, and even now and again wear shoes. On the road you eat with your fingers from foul smelling diet tin when you are taught when you are through, you push it out under the door. You stay dirty and stink until some water decide to permit a bath and issue a change of clothes. Sleep on a floor mattress. Wear no shoes so that every occasion the man reflect on his predicament. Which mean all the while the inevitability, comparison, routine, surface. Where would I be over now? Were I outside? Look where I am now. At mealtime, imagine how I used to eat around the table. And look at this. Applying even more pressure when he asks for a haircut, scrape his head, threaten him daily with the might and power of the baton, gun, barbed wire, and gallows. Remind him every morning and evening how certain his death and the gallows is, but his knee with the bottom for any 10-cent reason. Keep him on edge, poke at his soul, tear down the structure of his personality, deculturize him. Soon you won't have a man. He will have been transformed into a freak like a Lawrence Sinclair, Edley Grant, Ford, or the other who freak out under the onus of this torture. Silent is golden, but if a sufficient disturbed individual is in total silence and that silence is systematically enforced over a long period, the already disturbed individual will eventually suffer mental aberration of no small degree. Forelock on the door a bug-filled mattress, a couple of mugs, a shit bucket, and a time. More time, seemingly endless time. Sitting empty-eyed, standing because you are tired of sitting. Consideration, frustration, silent, time, silent, the death sentence, time. At first, the mind finds devastation in any triviality of the moment. After a while, even the diversion became tedious and more difficult to identify. So you began to backpedal in time, that being easier to face than the precarious future. After a while, the law of diminishing return set in, and there is no further back to go and still no way forward. At this point, you enter limbo, staring at the wall as if to discover something that was not there yesterday. Cleaning your nails that you did just clean 10 minutes ago. Trying to hide in sleep. At first, sleep is indeed a pleasant interlude. Then even sleep comes less and is no longer a pleasant interlude, but horror filled with period of nightmare and dreams from which you awaken, frightened and sweat soaked, so you began to shy away from sleep, and the mind become more difficult to control. You are surprised to find you are thinking out loud, singing a offbeat tune with rhythm only for your ears. Finally, you recognize the awesome truth that the most important task of every moment is to keep a firm hold on your mind. If not, you are going to get kinky and Babylon will still hang you easier than. So you forcefully program yourself from daybreak to unlock. You attend to the cleaning of your cell. From breakfast till midday meal, you exercise or spend the time hunting cockroach and bugs. After the midday meal, you use your occasion of the water absent to have a rap with the brother in the next cell. From then, the staff return until evening meal. You spend the time peeping across at number 1 block at the happenings there. After the next meal and the departure of the day staff, it is consideration until sleep come. The confinement on the row was except for 3 minutes each morning, total. Every morning, anywhere between 8 and 10, we were unlocked. In these 3 minutes, one had to empty the accumulate waste. Was the bucket fill a supply of water, wash one face and brush one teeth right there at a small cistern, leaving the toothbrush, soap, and paste in a box where everyone else kept theirs to have a clean later, and one would discreetly squeeze some paste onto the thumb and leave an hand soap. When the ward is done, it is tea time, and the door is open only enough for one hand to reach a piece of bread from the tray, and the other to shove in a mug for some cold tea. Midday meal and supper were served in a similar manner, except on such occasion as a visit or search, the door remained closed. At the far end of the ward, a section of about 30 feet was walled into a dead end, housing a single bathroom and an abandoned toilet. This dead end was called Duppy City by warders and prisoners alike. The story goes that the ghosts of all those executed hung out in this corner at night. The fact that come dusk, the ward would be invaded by a large frog coming from the dead end kept the story alive among the more sentimental. It was not the ghost or the frog that stirred fear and contempt in the heart of prisoners when Duppy City was mentioned. It was the button, coiled wire, sadistic blood, and tears that caused this fear of Duppy City, serving as it did as the chamber of brutality at the prison. If a prisoner from any section of this prison was to be brutalized, he was taken to the city. Once he entered the ward and was chased into the dead end, there was no escape from the onslaught of brutality. Here we would be smashed up by any amount of warders. Many times I heard them beat prisoners into unconsciousness and broken limb. One guy, Davis, went insane after a session of brutality there. The daily ration of scream, brutality, and blood all over the place when we reach the cistern in the morning imposed a terrible strain on our mind. One day it suddenly struck me that I had forgotten how to smile, that I had acquired a parliament screw.